Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Firstly, let me introduce myself. My name is Alfarizki Kurniawan. In this section 5, I will describing the understanding for pillars of ESP. In understanding for pillar of ESP, if we describe first in the ESP is founded on the 4 pillars of needs analysis, learning objectives, material and methods, and evaluation. Of course, it is necessary to understand not only what these pillars are, but also how to construct them. And we have to look for possible cracks and problems. So, over the next 4 chapters, we will focus on the specific these 4 pillars of ESP. Okay, wait a second. Right. Identifying needs and design of ESP courses and programs. We can have a basic concept in needs analysis. It is defining of clear and specific needs that perhaps distinguish ESP more strongly from general English language teaching, but unfortunately, needs analysis is an often confused concept within the ESP community and the ELT field in general. This is because scholars like to give the principle different names in order to highlight a particular aspect. So you will read about objective need analysis, subjective need analysis, target situation analysis, learning situation analysis, and mean analysis, among many other similar concepts. As the Brown status in the 20 and 16 part pages 4, basic concept in need analysis is attempts to resolve the confusion by defining needs analysis by systematic collection and analysis to all information used for defining or validating a defensible curriculum. And we need to consider the sort of need that ESP experts consider useful when designing teaching an ESP course or program. Alright, next. As I stated before, Brown stated that attempts to resolve the confusion by defining needs and analysis and systematic collection and analysis information used for refining and validating defensive and then in the diagnostic view of needs, Brown states again. He explained that there are at least 4 different views of needs. The first one discussed here as diagnostic view, where the need correspond to language profile. The considered nationalities and genders and skills that are considered nationalities essential or prerequisites or for success in target settings. Okay, wait a second. For example, in an EAP course, on academic presentation skill for researchers about to attend an overseas conference, and you may want to prioritize fluency and pronunciation development. Similarly, in an EAP course for hotel staff about the transfer to the reception desk, you might want to prioritize the telephone listening skill and politeness strategies. So it's based on the needs, the diagnostic views. Right, we can next to the discrepancy views of needs. The second view discussed in here is a discrepancy views, where needs correspond to the lacks, discrepancies or gaps between what the learners can currently do in the learning and what they will need to do in the target settings. As we can see in the previous chapter, Musicians and waiters use the term legs of these concepts. Again, all stakeholders need to be consulted, but those with their direct knowledge and experience of the target learners and the ways in which they are likely to progress in their language learning will probably offer the most useful insight. In EAP settings, experienced ESP instructors are most certainly the most useful stakeholder to consult in this case. Alright, we can have and next we can have democratic views of needs. As the third views that discussed here is a democratic views where needs correspond to what different stakeholders want, desire, expect, or request from the ESP course. Like in previous chapter, musicians and waiters term one to describe this concept, and the most important stakeholder here, of course, are the learners themselves. Learners almost universally want their courses to be interesting, enjoyable, manageable, and relevant to their future goal. And Brown in the 20 and 16 explained that where at least correspond to language genres and skills and considered facilities as we can and I explained before. Alright, we can have the next the analytic of view of need. The fourth view discussed here is an analytic view where needs correspond to element that second language equation or SLA theory and DLT research and practice have shown to be necessary next step in the learning progress. To follow this view of needs, ESP course designer needs to review the literature on SLA and ELT and consult with teachers who are familiar with learning theory and practice. As the Brown status again in 20 and 16, consider an analytic view needs to be problematic as we are still a long way from having comprehensive understanding of these learning steps. However, it is clear that many instructors adopt some aspect of this view, for example, when they practice isolated vocabulary terms before presenting them in the context of a reading passage. This view of needs also leads to the idea course price queries and can help guide the development of a linked set of courses that make up an ESP programs. Clearly, all four views of needs analysis provide insight that can guide ESP experts in the design and teaching of a course or program. On the other hand, we should remember that capturing comprehensive list of needs from different stakeholders using even this perspective in a difficult, if not impossible, text. So, if we are going to conduct a net analysis, we should perhaps aim for what? For what? Okay, we can next to the this conducting a large scale detailed need analysis. When we are trying to do in a net analysis and is established the diagnostic discrepancy, democratic and analytic view on needs from as many of the different stakeholders as possible. Some of these needs will be objective and others are subjective. And we can have the review of we can have a full-scale detailed need analysis is usually very broad in scope of involves many different data collection methods and resources, and some of the most common include reviews of research literature and the best practices, review of current learning materials and textbooks, questionnaires, survey of learners, instructors, administrators, specialists, and employers, and structures and discussion with learners, instruction, administrators, specialists, employers, and observation of learners and professional in target context, storage and analysis of learner language and target language, testing of learner performance before, during, and after the course. When using these procedures, we should be able to get answer the most of the question that will help you design a successful course or program. Okay, next we can continue to the next slide. Conducting a small scale just-in-time need analysis. Sometimes we build in the situation where we need to teach a course for completely needs and unfamiliar learner with only a few days or even hours to prepare and carry out a need analysis. In this just-in-time case, the following action can help you quickly establish the necessities like and one of the learners, perhaps equally importantly, an expectation or one to be administrative on we have on agreeing this course discussed briefly with the course coordinator the reviews of learner and what they expect learners to study in the class. And if the course is already in syllabus but has a vague or generic title, work with administrator to reach and conscious on the goals of the course and the freedom we have to interpret this after meeting the learners. Use this discussion to improve the understanding of the different stakeholders, necessities, likes, and want. And briefly review any provided material for the course again. This is as initial guides to the different stakeholders, necessities, like and wants. Before entering classroom, make every effort, and then at the start the first class provided a neat overview of what we see, necessities, like and want to explain how you arrive at your decision. Then we can next to the evaluating a need analysis. For a need analysis to be reliable, it should produce the same result if repeated. Adjusting of course for time to be valid. The need analysis should reveal the individual's different perspective of on needs, and not some unrelated outer factor. In contrast, to be practical, a need analysis should be designed in a way that allows it to carried out within a reasonable time and cost. A full scale needs analysis that include all data collection methods listed are likely be both reliable and valid. However, there is a danger that they can become overly complex and time consuming, reducing their practical value. Alright, that's all from my presentation. Hope you all understand. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.